Hey guys, so earlier, Nintendo announced that we will not only be getting a Switch 2 edition, but also a free update for Animal Crossing New Horizons. This is crazy because we haven't gotten any major content updates for this game since 2021, about 4 years ago. And it's also been nearly 6 years since the game released, so I was almost convinced that they were working on a new game at this point, and it would be announced fairly soon. But I understand why they're doing the Switch 2 edition and update now, since EPD Group 5 is also working on Splatoon Raiders, so it does make sense that the next Animal Crossing game probably won't release for another 2 to 3-ish years, I'm thinking. Yeah, I think about like 2027, 2028 is when we'll see like the next Animal Crossing game. I feel like this is probably like holding over the wait until the next game. I mean, it might be a little longer, but I could definitely understand why they're doing this. And I also really like how they're handling this because the new content is not relegated to the Switch 2 edition. It makes a lot of sense, as Nintendo is not going to alienate tens of millions of people who don't have a Switch 2 yet, and Animal Crossing New Horizons is like one of the most popular games on Switch, so this makes a lot of sense, like how they're handling this, but I just think this is a much better deal, and it just seems much more consumer friendly than a lot of the other Nintendo Switch 2 decisions that Nintendo has made. But the Switch 2 edition is actually pretty reasonable, since it's only about $5, and they are actually adding more than like what some other upgrades did. Like, I think it adds more than both like the Zelda games and Zaza, since like not only does it improve the resolution, but it also has like mouse controls for custom designs. You could also use the mic in the game to like call out like villagers, or you could also have like 12 players visit your island. You could also like have the camera and different things. So they are adding, they're small additions, but it still is nice. And I think $5 is completely reasonable for this. So, because they are doing like a little more than just the resolution upgrade. However, they aren't doing a frame rate upgrade. Like, it's going to be like 4K 30 FPS, which is kind of disappointing. It would be nice if you could do like 1080p, 1440p, 60 FPS. That would make a lot of sense, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Maybe there will be like some kind of like performance option. Probably not, considering Nintendo doesn't really like to add too many options in casual games, but I don't know, the resolution still is nice, and $4.99 is pretty reasonable for this. And then with the update, they're actually adding quite a lot here, which is pretty nice since it's completely free and like not tied to the Switch 2 version. But a lot of the things that they're adding in this update are really cool. They're adding a hotel run by Captain's family, and basically, you can customize each of the rooms based on the different themes. It's almost like a little mini version of Happy Home Designer or Happy Home Paradise, but kind of directly connected to your island, and you can get different villagers to stay there, almost like the campsite a little bit. So I think it's pretty cool, and I really like how they're kind of incorporating Captain's family into this. So, and then there's also like different like items that you can get from the hotel, like from the gift shop there, and I think that's really cool. And Rossetti is also gonna have a role in the game as well, which is really cool. It's really cool to see him fully return. And ironically, he's actually going to be resetting things, since before he tried to get you to not reset and save your game, but now he's actually resetting certain areas of the island. I think that's pretty funny how he basically has like almost like the opposite role that he had before. I mean, I guess if he was preventing you from doing something, he kind of also knew how to do it. But it is kind of nice and convenient that you can kind of clear out an area if you want to like kind of decorate something a different way. I think that's definitely pretty convenient. You could also have 9,000 items in your home storage, which is pretty nice. I have like my storage is definitely filling up in New Horizons, so that is pretty nice to have on there. And you could also store like trees as well. and like shrubs and different things, which is kind of interesting. I'm glad that they're kind of making the storage a little more convenient as well. Then there's also a mode called Slumber Island, which is basically one big sandbox mode where you can completely customize 3 islands, and you could also play with people online there, and it's really cool. It's basically like one place where you could just create a bunch of stuff. If you don't have room to create something that you want on your own island, you can kind of create it there. That's a really cool thing. It's not something that was like really necessary, but it's also like kind of nice to have if you just kind of like to create things or make things in New Horizons, kind of like emphasizing that customization aspect of the game, which I really like. I think that's pretty cool. The only thing is that is a bit weird is on the website it says you need a Switch Online membership to design and save these islands, which is kind of weird. It would be nice if you could just like create your own without like the subscription tied to it. Because I mean, like, theoretically you could just kind of like play around in your own island or just like post videos of it online if you want to share it. It's like, it doesn't really need to have the NSO thing tied to it. I don't know, maybe that's just weird wording on the website. I'm not sure if it's like actually tied to it, but it's still pretty weird, but still like a cool concept. But I'll just have to see when it releases. It also seems like there will be bulk crafting as well. It did say in the trailer that they're like for special items, but it did look like they kind of changed up the crafting system a little bit just from what we've seen by the menu. So that would be great if that is the case, that we're getting bulk crafting. Like, I've been wanting that for nearly 6 years now, so it is nice that we're finally getting it after so long. And then they're also doing a bunch of crossover things as well. Like, they're having like a bunch of Nintendo themed items, and they're bringing back the NES consoles from the original Animal Crossing, and they're also doing like some other like consoles too. Like, you can do like a Super Nintendo or a Game Boy as well, and you can actually play them. And at first, that sounds amazing. Like, I've been wanting to see something like that in Animal Crossing again for so long. And on the surface, it may seem like, oh yeah, there's finally a way to play these games without a subscription. However, there is a catch, because of course, Nintendo had to do something with this. They had to pull something with this, of course, because it's modern Nintendo. You need a Nintendo Switch Online subscription to play these classic games, which basically removes the entire point of them. Like, you could, like, literally, there's no point to playing these games now. You could just open the apps. And it's just disappointing, too, because it just seems like Nintendo doesn't want you to own these games. They want you to be continually paying for a subscription service in order to play these classic games. It's just really disappointing. It would be nice if you could actually permanently own these games, even if it was through a weird, unconventional way, like through New Horizons. Like, it still would have been nice, even if you didn't have a Switch Online subscription. You can, like, get one of these, like, consoles in the game and just boot it up without any sort of subscription or anything. Like, this isn't just a problem with modern Nintendo, but it's just, like, a problem with modern gaming in general. It's just, like, there are so many areas where there are paywalls or required subscriptions. It's just so weird and unnecessary. And the thing is, like, it's not even like Nintendo really giving these games away. Like, it's like, these are 40-year-old games. It's not really like they're losing money by letting you play these for free. Like, you're already paying $60 for this game. I think it's completely reasonable if you could like play these NES and SNES games without a subscription. I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me, because like way back on the GameCube, they offered like a bunch of NES games, and of course that didn't have anything tied to it. So it just seems kind of weird to me that they're handling it this way. And then they're also doing a few interesting collaborations as well. Like, they're adding some Lego items, which makes sense, as they did do the Lego Animal Crossing line recently. They're also doing some really cool Nintendo stuff as well. This is something that I feel that New Horizons was lacking. it definitely needed some more Nintendo themed content, like aside from Mario. So it's really nice to see that they're adding some Zelda and Splatoon stuff in. I would have liked if they also did Pikmin as well. I mean, I can understand why they wouldn't do like Kirby because that's like outside of EPD, but like Pikmin would have been nice as well. But the stuff with Zelda is really cool. They're adding some new villagers. They're adding Tulin and Minoru, which are really cool. I think that's amazing that they're adding like some Tears of the Kingdom themed villagers, and then they're also adding some like Splatoon villagers as well. I think they're the same ones that were in New Leaf, but they're like themed around Shiver and Fry this time. So I think that's amazing. It would have been cool if we also got like a big man themed villager, but I can understand why they like did two for each series. So I think that's really cool the way they're handling it, and it's tied with the amiibo with these villagers. So I mean it makes sense. I know that you could technically consider that a paywall, but there are ways of getting around it. Like it's 2025, but we all know how to get around paying for an amiibo. But it's still pretty nice, I would say, and I'm glad they're adding like some Nintendo stuff here. So I would say this update is looking to be pretty great. Aside from the weird way they're handling the classic games, this is definitely a pretty substantial update, and I feel like this is actually going to get me back into Animal Crossing New Horizons. Maybe I can actually get my hours up to 1,000 now, since I think I have about like 500 hours currently. But yeah, let me know what you think of the update, and thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky!